fun cards that we put together.
I've been looking at these things. I moved over here early afternoon.
On the marine species report card, this one is a white abalone shell, and this one here is a black abalone shell. I also have a red abalone shell because we do have red abalone here, but they're not on the marine species report card. Yeah, he and I went to college.
What is biodiversity? You look it up in a textbook, and I promise, if you read the definition, it'll just be like a blur of words. It's almost like biodiversity is diversity is diversity. So what is it really? And if you ask yourself, if biodiversity declined by 10%, what would that mean? How would we even know that? Would you feel really sad about that or connected to that? And I think not. And here's a little insider. I'm a research conservation biologist, and in conservation biology, it's a real challenge to define biodiversity in a way that allows you to measure it so you know whether it's getting better or worse. They're not the only component of it, and many of the other conversations about biodiversity, I said, if I told you there had been a 10% decline in California marine biodiversity,
I want to give you a little bit of augmentation to that. So in addition to highlighting population trends and making more tangible some of the natural history of these 30 species, the report card is an opportunity to talk about conservation actions and programs that exist here at the aquarium or further afield with our partners to help these species thrive into the future. The aquarium is involved in several of these conservation initiatives. At least 6 out of the 30 species we have focused programs on. And I want to give you some highlights of those today, and I encourage you to look at the materials you received when you came into the aquarium, which has some additional information. The first set of programs that we have are Head Start and breeding programs. Our animal care teams are working to increase the populations of endangered and threatened species across the state by raising juvenile animals here under human care and then releasing them into the wild. We do
Thank you so much, Jenny, and thank you to all of you for joining us here today for this wonderful lunch of the Marine Species Report Card. For members of the media, if you would like to do an interview before engaging on your tour, we invite you to come down now. You're welcome to do interviews with Jenny and Peter Kariba.
If it's only 45 minutes.
That's no one here now. The turn for lights is a lot better. Clear.
Hi everyone, my name is Cynthia, part of the education team here at the Aquarium of the Pacific. And I'm also joined by a lovely diver as well, so you can definitely say hi to them. They can see you as clearly as you can see them, but we are here because we want to talk a little bit about the Aquarium of the Pacific. species report card, and we actually have a website. If you're interested in looking for more information, you can, it's actually going to be pacific.2/SSRC, and the hashtag is going to be protected marine species. But the marine species report card is actually very important. So it is a public resource that is for people to learn a little bit more about our 30 local species here in Southern California. Now, it also shows the threats that they face, but also their population trends as well. So we're really excited to start this marine species report card here at the as a nursery area for those baby or juvenile animals. I might use it as a protective area, especially for those larger animals against, especially for those smaller animals against larger predators or even storms. Some animals might use it as a food source, and some animals, this is a permanent home. So kelp forests are very important to so many different types of marine life. And this exhibit, our Honda Blue Cavern, is modeled after a real place. It's actually right by Catalina Island. So we are very lucky to get to experience a kelp forest habitat right here in our very own ocean backyard. And this is just a small percentage of it, also by Catalina Island. And it is an MPA, which means it's a marine protected area. So all these animals are protected, and that's a really great thing because it means they can live their full lives and possibly even have babies. So it's a really great thing.
Here, Audi, California state fish. Just shout it out if anybody has any particular questions, but this is pretty indicative of a predator-prey relationship or something that eats the algae that may overgrow some of these vertebrates. They hide. There's also a swell shark in here, which is also a small bottom-dwelling shark. But they
Would it like attack them or something?
no. The shark they feed more on hard-bodied invertebrates. You can see some empty clams.
Aquarium, we only have weight. Well,
Yeah, this is the most endangered of the abalone. There's 7 species of abalone that overlap the Southern California bight. And white abalone is the deepest living one, and that's for that reason they are a little bit more exposed in their natural behavior because there aren't that many predators in the deep water where they live. So they live on the top of a rock, for instance, as opposed to like in a deep crevice as an intertidal abalone might. And they were relatively safe until commercial divers developed the equipment to go down deep enough to pop off the rocks. And from what I heard, they're one of the more tasty abalone, so their population will be spawned to create more white abalone that can go out into the wild. Easy, you put the animals out, they start breeding, yay, but we're putting these animals out into an area rich with predators. Yes. And in fact, until I think up until about 2016-17, you could still get red abalone north of San Francisco, but no abalone are allowed to be taken in the state of California. There's 2 now that are on the endangered species list, including the white abalone and the black abalone. The black abalone on the report card is an intertidal species where they're actually exposed to transfer a small portion to an area of their historic habitat in hopes that they can start breeding in that new area as well. We also have our, for California, it only has a partial window during the year where it's open, and there's certain limitations on how recreational fishers can take and how many they can take and what size they can take.
Do you know the current population?
The current, I don't have it on the equipment that water, so a lot of that's depends on the commercial and recreational take year after year after year as opposed to being able to go down to the water. They don't do that.
Oh, did you see that? Both are ballowing or like they keep propelling off each other.
Because they'll off feed right before they molt. Molt is like a shedding of the exoskeleton, but then they're very soft and vulnerable. So if you don't know, live communally in these, they'll share burrows, so it's probably a little bit of curiosity, it could be a little bit of mating, it could be jockeying for position for feeding time.
So this is kind of where we represent our mussels, and they like to grow on artificial leaves. And yeah, so you can see them kind of on the column right there. And the reason it's dark is because this represents the ecosystem that's in the water. And so the more you look at it, the more you see. Because all plants have roots, kelps have a holdfast that they attack different species. Well, obviously, but in different. Some of them are surf perch.
Oh, okay. Different kinds. They all look the same.
Most of them are surf perch.
Okay. Just trying to think of the caption for the photo. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The guy made about 40 seconds to do another deal.
Hold on, Winnie. 1 second. Some of them are cruising, some of them are resting. The bottom, you can see a little black in her face. That's one of our hard it's really incredible. He's itchy, so they'll there, but
Yeah, that was better. Oh, I see it first.
I just heard about that. Super interesting.
What happens if I do this? Remember? Look down, look down. Look down, it looks like you're going down. Okay, guys, it's going down. Remember it went right down? Ooh. It looks like it's actually real.
Sticking your hands in the water, you can scoop in the touches.
He makes rounds, so if you miss a shot, don't worry. He'll come back
We've
around.
been to any other touch tank here at the aquarium. Let's say we got our moon jelly touch tank back that way outside. We also got our coastal corner touch tank up on the second floor. You'll notice the water in both of those touch tanks is a lot colder than the water in our touch tanks here. Most of our animals, mostly animals that live in the ocean, whether they are fish, crabs, sea stars, sharks.
We're good.
So what's really interesting about the green turtle is that they are named green not for the color of their skin. You'll notice he's not very green sea turtle, but actually for what they eat. So they are like lawnmowers of the sea. They eat the eel grasses primarily.
Diamond-shaped brown, solid brown ones. And our blue-spotted ribbon-tail ray are the circular ones with those blue spots on them. Kind of by watching how they move around and also the amount that they move around, you can kind of get a feel for how they act. They're more circular, they're not swimming around as much, and when they do, they don't really act all. And the wild they find these babies
And it never gets old to just go out there and be like, that's actually
Okay, so we need to have like a beige brown top. Okay, thank you, Cassandra.
So this is a green sea turtle shell. You can see inside. They are their shells. These would be where the ribs are. This is the spine, and so they're not like.
The younger male has only been here for a couple months. He was at Aquarium until he was about 8 months old.
Well, welcome. I'm here to talk about our bull kelp conservation programs. Unfortunately, due to rising temperatures in our ocean, starting at about 2, went out and took a bunch of samples. We've got about 1,600 of them in state samples. They do need a water change 2 times a year. We are actually able to use what little material comes off in those water changes to grow all of these little tiny flasks that are going to have test tubes that have the stasis material. When we're doing the water change, we do pour the water into a beaker like this, and like you see, we aerate it. We actually increase the temperature. We get a little fertilizer until they're ready to be outplanted, and then we'll go ahead and dissect these into a couple different nodes, and then we'll glue them to rocks similar to look and see how much they've grown. We do have some of the large ones down in the Northern Pacific preview. They're over 10 feet long right now. It's still growing. They will grow all the way across the exhibit at some point. But they're really, really important for ecosystems. They're like the trees in a forest, providing habitat for numerous different animals. And they're impacted not only by species that you're looking at in this gallery are all intertwined, and the health of each is going to affect.
You're welcome to touch explore if you'd like.
Sure.
But these, nice and slimy. And these little bladders help lift it towards the surface. Sometimes you'll find them at the beach. Sometimes folks like to pop them because there is air inside those.
Why do they need to be?
Non-actual kelp. These are ones we use in classroom for our students to explore with, but similar parts as well. So seafloor, these ones aren't getting as tall like this kind of kelp is, more growing like a bush. These often by like Cabrillo. Cabrillo's got a twist lifted up. This type of algae can grow up to 2 feet in a day. So that's a lot of growth from that rock, and we find it kind of floating on the water. Hi friends, welcome. We're exploring some algae here. Feel free to touch. If you like, the water's chilly, but feel free. However, if there is active algae growing like you see here, if these were to get damaged, the algae would start to
Oh my gosh, it's gonna show you that's its little face. I'll get my finger out of the way, but that's its face, and that little tube is its mouth. Oh yeah, the tube. That's so cool. Might be the other classroom. So it might even open its mouth and show you its little scraping tongue called a radula, and that's what allows it to eat the algae off the sides. So these over here on this table will give you a difference between the red abalone and then we have the endangered full-grown or local typal sharks. Typal, and to use it for education purposes. You're also welcome to touch them.
Hold on tight.
It's actually leaning back to look at you all more. I'll step out of the way. Whoa, just stealing all the limelight.
Only 2 fingers.
Is it showing you the little radula?
Nice.
Look at them.
Okay, you want to pet? She said,
Those are fun to pet if you're interested.
you want to pet something?
A couple of the
What do you want to pet?
Don't get hurt.
They're not going to hurt you.
See by some size difference. There's one down there. That's the red urchin. Comes out.
Look, Daddy will touch. Look.
purple urchin.
See?
Again, please.
Again?
Because the predator.
Okay, he's touching it.
What?
Where we have too many of the purple urchins, which therefore eats the giant kelp. And the giant kelp.
Because they have those like the big like underbite.
They do, yeah. So the California
takes them a minute.
sheephead are one of the few animals that they are pretty resilient to fluctuations because they're tidal animals. They can go without.
Oh my god, it's real. What are these? I always see them in at the beach.
And then, like, we're kind of seeing here, the bodies of the dynamic. Look at the teeth, feeling, check out these animals. And all these are ones that you can actually see here, except for our whales. We don't keep whales here. Let me know if you have any questions. Please feel free to explore, touch all the things. Yes. Hi there. Welcome. Thank you. Yeah, feel free to touch, explore. Yeah, so these are some of the structures making up our underwater forest. Yeah, these are the blades here. We've got some nematocysts. These are important. This little strand of aluminum here helps lift the kelp towards the surface. So all these little particles, right? Because we all see it on kelp in the beach. Did you ever pop them?
Yeah, with my faces.
Yep. Very common. That's most people's interaction with them. But they play an important role with the kelp too.
I get it.
Helping lift it all, keeping it going up that way. Exactly. These ones we're finding in a little more shallow water. These are some of our seagrasses. Cabrillo Beach has tons of seagrass. You can be out in the woods there and you'll feel it on the boat.
Get in touch with those two fingers.
Yes, this is complicated.
It's amazing how or what our learners also touch all the time for exploration.
Yeah, you can see they're not nervous at us.
If they were, it would be hunched down. Instead, a lot of them are coming out to say hello. There's also some lipids in here. So these little, what look like rocks, are also animals. You can pet them. What's really fun with our really big urchins is they.
It's just so crazy that they're
See purple.
Oh.
And that's just how they kind of say, go away, have a bright color.
I know, right?
Urchins will eat everything.
I feel like they're kind of hard to see like in like kelp boards and stuff. You know, they have like so much stuff on them. But then like when you feed them, it's so cute. You
So
have
this shark.
That's so adorable.
And
And the little like riders on them. I know.
like, look at your neighbors. And what that does is allows it to capture as it's floating around. So seaweed's drifting back and forth. It can use its spines to grab. It will also take rocks and move the rocks on top of its arm. It has a rather big rock. Oh, it's a shell that you put on top of the shell. This is a lipid. Yeah, that's why they're equal lipid. They they have a few. They just have a few predators, but so by and large, compared to other animals, I would say they're not big on, especially on this.
We've got a couple in the touchable as well. Those ones have a little bit more of a cone-shaped shell. They don't have the sea otters.
Their populations explode.
Just different kinds of
And they
species.
move down.
As well as our otter conservation
And
projects.
that's because they're trying to maintain
Our amazing sunflower stars.
So they do that.
Those guys are eating down.
They want their skull.
Our sea urchins, yes. We're important partners for.
Did you get a chance to see the sea otters today?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Why?
The sea otters will actually.
You can